Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the Voiceovers Podcast. I'm Cameron Glowman here with
24K Logan.
And today, Idol episode 2, Double Fantasy. Okay,
So, you got the pros, I got the cons. It was a good episode, but...
Okay.
Oh, man.
I feel like we should get the pros out of the way. Alright, so... I'm paying attention to the show, and I understand it. I understand the show. I ain't gonna say I'm gonna have a bias because I am a Weeknd fan, but like, okay, how to explain this? Let's give a breakdown of the show, and then we can talk about the cons of it in a way. All right, Jeannie and Nikki. I noticed in the beginning of the thing, well, somebody pointed this out to me. Shout out to you. I noticed that she noticed they could sing or whatever, and I guess she's trying to use her to, replace Jocelyn. I guess, But also, everybody else is kind of like, you're either doing dirt or you're with Jocelyn in a way. Destiny and Chaim, they're like really the only ones who will look out for Jocelyn.
I agree.
Because like when she, when the high heels and she was bleeding and stuff, they were really the only ones who was like looking out for her and was like actually concerned. Everybody else, Nikki kind of realized at the end, but everybody else is just like, using her, except for Destiny and Chaim. Leela is Jocelyn's best friend, so she's kind of
supposedly.
Yeah, she's her best friend. But the Izaak dude, he's getting into her. I wrote that wrong. He's kind of forming a relationship with her just to get close to Jocelyn as well. Everybody's using Jocelyn. I can tell. You can tell this stuff.
There's an agenda in this.
I want to say an agenda. What
when I mean an agenda, there's an agenda against Jocelyn.
Yeah. And the Chloe girl, I guess all these people, because Izaak, Jeannie, and Chloe, they are like the singers, I guess. They can sing, and I guess they're using Jocelyn to get to that thing. They're kind of trying to get into the mansion, If you've seen in the recap, you can tell how the show is going. But that's from I guess that's from an understanding point, because you see the story, but everybody else might be like, oh, what's up with all the sex stuff and all this? We were kind of creeped out.
My first issue with this, like, the way I look at it, is two sides to this. One side is that I understand what Sam Levinson is trying to do, showing a harsh reality of how things can be in Hollywood, how the minds of some of these club promoters and producers and record executives and whatnot, how they can be. I understand what he's doing from that standpoint, but the other side, and I think there's a lot more people criticizing him for this, which I can understand.
Yeah, it's
the sexual scenes and the sex scenes, and just how he's portraying everything. I could understand why it makes a lot of people question him. I'm not necessarily questioning him for that. But again, I understand why people feel that way. Somebody had a video saying that The Idol is the worst show ever and that Sam Levinson needs help.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would take it that far, but there is definitely certain things in here that I question where I'm like, okay, he's showing a harsh reality, but then he's going overboard, and he also did this in Euphoria. Yeah,
with Sweeney, it was a lot of controversy. I don't know if it was a lot or a little, but there was kind of things going on the set. But in terms of like explaining things, like especially in Euphoria, like the reality of an actual drug user and how the reality of that.
Yeah,
this man's a genius with knocking out the accuracy of it. But the sexual stuff can go overboard. And I've noticed that. I'm like, dang, it's kind of like...
Yeah, I'm like, what am I watching? Am I still watching TV? Or am I on something else? Like...
Yeah. God. But, I don't know. I feel like the show is obviously taking a dark turn. Let's just hope it's more like... How to explain this? Like grit and gore in a way. A little more of that and a little less of that. You know what I mean?
Do you think Tedros will turn into a villain?
He is the villain.
Okay.
Like from the moment he popped on screen, he was the villain,
But you couldn't really see that at first. You could.
But you could. Yeah. A lot of people was watching the show
because it's almost like he was trying to make it. I guess that's what villains do. They make it seem like they're good people, and then later on you realize that they're actually evil.
Yeah, but people are really watching the show for Jeannie or Abel or HBO new show. That's the reason why people watch this. But you look at his character, I can tell he's using her. You can tell that he's using her. You know, people may not see it, but you know, it's kind of why I'm glad to pay attention to this early in the show, and not like later down the road. Everybody's like, I'm telling y'all, later this season, I bet it'll all unfold, and then you know.
How much darker can it get though?
I feel like we're like on the tip of the iceberg right now.
That's bad.
It probably is bad considering.
If that's the tip of the iceberg, then we're going to see some damn near demonic shit.
I'm scared for this water.
I really am. The way that they are using Jocelyn, I mean, goodness gracious. I don't see how. I just don't get it.
Yeah, but and also her like
reality of Hollywood.
Yeah, in Hollywood. Yeah, and her mother, like, you know, she passed on, and she's like going back to making music or going back to like recording videos, I guess, and seeing her bleeding and stuff. It's like in the hopefully I don't get flagged for this, but the cuts on her leg, that reference, you know, I ain't gonna say the word, but you know, she's. You know,
exactly. Y'all have to watch the episode.
Yeah, you have to watch it just to understand it. Now, from a outside view, you can be like, "What am I watching?" But like, you look at it, you like, "Okay, this is kind of." But at the same time, it is extremely dark, and if you're an adult audience, you know, you can watch this and you would understand it. But I wouldn't recommend a kid to watch this.
And the way that they have the Weeknd portraying this character. I know that his music is dark, but this version of him is creepy.
Yeah, it is. It's like
it's atrocious. Like the stuff he was saying. As much as we want to say what he said in tonight's episode, we're not going to say it because again, we're not trying to get flagged.
Yeah, I'm not really not trying to repeat.
Some of y'all will laugh. The rest of y'all will not want to watch this show anymore. I'll put it that way.
These are the best villains. Like the ones who I guess you see as a hero. And then later on the show, or after the show, you realize that they're the villain, you know.
And then at one point in the show, when Izaak was talking to Leela, and he mentioned that he was in a church choir, which I don't see how he could be in anybody's church choir, but he was in somebody's church choir, and Tedros just so happened to discover him at the church. I'm like, you really think this man really want to be at a church for some service or a good word?
Also, his name is Tedros. It could be a double name. It could be not. Because they mentioned he was in Hawaii and he just like stopped existing. So he really probably has like a whole dark past behind him, and that's what we see in the future. So, I guess 8 episodes left of this. I don't know if we're gonna do a review after every episode, but we was like, we might as well because it has been a week, 7 days since we uploaded.
It is getting kind of interesting. At first, I wasn't that sure after the first episode. But seeing now that Tedros is officially the villain, or he's moving into that realm, and then we see the people who are actually here to support Jocelyn and the people that's against Jocelyn. Now the show is starting to make sense, but again, the toughest thing for this show for a lot of people to get through is the sex scenes and some of the it's overboard.
It low key, it high key is. It high key is.
That's what's going to hurt. I'm not going to say that's going to hurt the show, but it is going to hurt the show.
The ratings. I can only imagine what's like some people is
the
giving
fact
it right
that
now.
We saw a video with a title of "This is the worst show ever." Like, how much worse can it get than that?
I feel like if they execute it properly, maybe the ratings go up, maybe they go down again. Who knows? But if we get renewed for a second season, because I feel like this show can really have a lot of seasons to it. Not like a lot, maybe 3, 4. But I feel like we have a...
Depends on the writing.
Yeah, the writing. The writing is critical at this point. Like, the writing is what's going to save this show in a way.
Any predictions for episode 3?
I've seen them pulling out guns or whatever, so... Yeah, and they mentioned how he's brainwashing her, and they also mentioned the how they're going into the mansion. And
when Destiny has said never trust a man with a rat tail.
Yeah.
So Destiny probably already has some suspicions about Tedros.
Yeah.
And she might even try to convince Jocelyn early on, this guy is up to no good. And she might even say the same about Izaak, but I feel like Jocelyn's not going to really notice until it's too late, or until the end of the season.
Or until she's pregnant. Who knows?
Well, that just took a dark turn if that happens.
Predictions.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for watching The Idol, 9 o'clock every Sunday on HBO or Max. Streaming now.
And again, this isn't a bad show, but the scenes or certain scenes will be tough to go through, and there's going to be a lot of stuff in here that's questioned. I feel that there's things in The Idol that may be more questionable than what we saw in Euphoria. Certain aspects, anyway.
Yeah, the show is a slightly darker, but who knows? Because still got to get a season 3 of Euphoria. But I feel like the show has potential still.
Me too.
Yeah, and I like the show. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm here for the weekend, but you know.
But we appreciate y'all. More content on the way. Stay tuned. Peace and love.